Hail Internet, I am Lord VikingBeard. Welcome to Batman Arkham Knight for PC, a launch day disaster of epic proportions. Uplay, well, probably no one at first, as for many people the game was so broken that it wouldn't launch, and for many more, still ran so poorly that it was unplayable even on recommended hardware. These and many other issues caused an enormous backlash the likes of which I had never seen before. The game was heavily criticised in user reviews and returned at an astounding rate, causing Warner Bros. To pull it from storefront and recommending remaining unhappy customers to return it as well. An unprecedented move from such a large publisher. Now, 3 months later and a number of patches in, and a relaunch the same day as this very review, has Arkham Knight been polished up to a mirror shine, or is it still a complete mess? Well, before answering that question, I'm going to try and give a brief summary of what happened that made people so mad. Let's dive in. It's June 23rd, one of the most anticipated game launches of the year on Xbox One, PS4 and Steam for PC, and the console versions are great, receiving decent reviews, coverage and fan praise. But the Steam release is a very different story. Ported by a third-party developer, Iron Galaxy, consisting of about 12 people, and they are inexperienced in PC development, to put it kindly. They were clearly given nowhere near enough time to produce a quality product. There were many issues on launch for people, ranging from general bugs and glitches to massive performance drops and lag spikes, especially during Batmobile sections, making the game unplayable for many even with top-of-the-line hardware. Add to this the game is locked at 30 FPS, essentially them saying, "We haven't optimized this game even slightly for your likely pretty expensive hardware." A patch was released quickly that gave players a few more options, but did little to nothing to fix the major issues. So for months, many gamers who stuck with the title had an unplayable mess sitting on their hard drives, mocking them. And on a side note, and speaking of mocking, I thought I would throw in that at the same time an employee of Warner Bros. Decided to weigh in on the debacle and call those who took issue with the shoddy state of the port a bunch of babies, and that they can't troubleshoot, that they should just wait a week for all the many piles of glorious perfect fixes that are definitely coming super soon. I may be paraphrasing, and I refer you back to the months the game was left as an unplayable mess, but I digress. Promises were made that Rocksteady, the developer of the actual game, would immediately start working to bring the PC version up to the standards that we had been expecting. Now skip ahead around 2 months to early September. A patch is finally released to owners of the game, and I can honestly say it's a bit of a revelation. No more locked frame rate, the spikes all but gone, and tons of bugs clearly fixed. And now today, on the 28th of October, Batman Arkham Knight is coming back on sale on the Steam store, with another patch to give it one final lick of paint and access to the Season Pass DLC, before returning to the public at a small price reduction, although no change to the Season Pass, making it more expensive than the base game is now. There are still issues, but they are more of the type you would expect from a big detailed open world game rather than an absolutely atrocious port. There are still glitches, but they don't seem to affect the core gameplay and mostly revolve around enemies getting stuck in things. It seems that there's some sort of code to help deal with this as well. I had a couple of thugs phase into walls during scripted encounters, but the engine appeared to count them as defeated or gone, so I could easily continue the game. Batmobile sections are completely overhauled. No longer the glitchy, stuttering mess they once were. They're now smooth and actually controllable, although the forced use of scripted sections are still far too frequent, but that's an issue with the game itself and nothing to do with the patches. And of course the frame cap is now adjustable, giving you options from 30 through to 90, although 120 would have been nice, but it's not the end of the world. And yeah, so the whole thing is now playable. This is how it should have launched. Yes, there are small issues, but a far cry from the launch day fiasco. I would hope developers will learn from this debacle and pay closer attention to release on all platforms, There are fiercely loyal fans out there on all systems, and they don't deserve to be treated as second class to anyone else. If you can't finish a version on time, then delay it. Fans will be disappointed, but not nearly as angry as throwing out a broken game with one hand and putting your other outstretched for money. Let me finish with a short summary review. Batman Arkham Knight is in itself a solid game. Beautiful, with mostly great gameplay, and is easily the most polished versions of the stealth and combat in all the Arkham games. It's massive and there is tons of stuff to do. Should keep fans entertained for a bare minimum of 30 hours. Way more if you partake in everything the game has to offer. It's a good game. However, even without all the problems that had befallen the PC version, I still wouldn't recommend at full price. A lot of the content is padding, and with most of the side quests, once you have done one part, you have pretty much seen what the entire thing has to offer, bar increased difficulty. The main quest line also happens to be pretty predictable, although fun nonetheless, with an actually great main ending sequence. You can get Batman Arkham Knight for $29.99 on Steam. Although there is compensation coming in the way of previous Arkham titles for owners of the game before the 16th of November. Many folks who bought into Arkham Knight were already fans of the series and own many if not all of the games on Steam and various platforms, making this compensation ring a little hollow. I have to say I definitely wouldn't recommend any part of this title for full price, if only for the reason than the contempt shown for their audience by the publisher. Find a way to get it cheap and you do still have the best Arkham game on your hands. Farewell, and thanks for watching.